The tale of Bugatti is a narrative of both triumph and sorrow. To grasp my point, we must travel back a century ago to the cellar of a house in Germany. Ettore Bugatti had just completed his automobile and decided to leave his job and establish his own company in France. Over the next few years, he produced some of the quickest and most luxurious vehicles under his name, becoming one of the leading engineers of his day. But despite his success, it all crumbled overnight when he was forced to relinquish his firm, never realizing what the Bugatti brand would become. So, sit tight, as we embark on a journey through Bugatti's incredible ascent and descent, and how it returned to become the ultimate luxury brand of hypercars we recognize today. Ettore Bugatti was born in Milan, Italy, on September 15, 1881, into a reasonably well-to-do family. His father, Carlo Bugatti, was a renowned furniture and jewelry designer in Milan, while his grandfather was a distinguished architect and sculptor. This passion and talent for art were ingrained in their family, and it was passed down to Ettore's younger brother, Rembrandt, who was 3 years his junior but was already an exceptional sculptor, even more so than his older brother. Many historians believe that Rembrandt's brilliance was the reason why Ettore did not pursue sculpting or follow in his family's footsteps. Nevertheless, that artistic legacy would manifest itself differently. From a young age, it was evident that Ettore was a natural-born engineer. He was so gifted that even without any formal training, he was already learning complicated designs. At the age of 16, Ettore fixed a broken tricycle with ease under his father's watchful eyes. Carlo immediately recognized his son's talent and encouraged Ettore to take an apprenticeship at Prunetti and Stucci, a factory known for producing sewing machines and bicycles at the time. Ettore agreed and joined the factory at 17, and a year later, he designed his own motor tricycle while competing in a Paris to Bordeaux race. The motorized tricycle was powered by 2 engines made by Didion. Working at Prunetti and Stucci was an excellent idea, but it also opened Ettore's eyes to a whole new world. A world of mechanical designs, automobiles, and speed. It was where Ettore found his calling. In 1900, at the age of 19, Ettore left Prunetti and Stucci and set out to build his car. He was a perfectionist by nature and would draw out every single detail of his car design, from the engine to the body parts. He supervised the creation of all the car parts, a ritual he continued throughout his life. He was a precise, detailed, and mathematical man, to the extent that some of his designs seemed too complex even for the most established engineers of his time. His talent eventually caught the attention of the Dietrich Company, which had factories in both France and Germany. Despite his young age, Ettore was frequently hired by the company to build and design vehicles. He received his first professional contract at the age of 19, and because he was still a minor, his father had to co-sign the contract for him. Ettore had to move away from his birthplace in Milan to Niederbrunn, a town in Germany, for this job. There, he worked for a few years, learning more about his craft, developing automobiles, and even entering car races. In 1903, Ettore built his second car for the Paris-Madrid race. Unfortunately, the vehicle was too advanced for its time and was not allowed to participate. Ettore had designed the car with the driver and engine placed low in the chassis for better center of gravity and aerodynamics, which was considered strange by other designers who preferred higher seating. Nevertheless, this design would later become the norm among race cars. 3 years later in 1906, Ettore left de Dietrich. During this era, cars were built one at a time by highly skilled craftsmen, making them very expensive and out of reach for most people. They were primarily used for racing, a sport that was quickly gaining popularity across Europe and America. In 1907, Ettore met Barbara Josefina Machera, who later became his wife. That same year, Ettore signed a multi-year contract with a gasoline engine manufacturer in Cologne, Germany, called Dietz. He spent his time there creating larger, heavier-duty engines, which was the norm at the time. However, he had already developed his own ideas about engine building that would go against the trends of the time. He believed that building an extremely lightweight, small car was possible and that such a vehicle would outperform larger engine cars. Ettore began working on this new automobile in the basement of his house, and it would later be known as the Bugatti Type 10, the first car to bear the Bugatti name. In 1909, Ettore Bugatti completed the Type 10, a remarkable achievement for its time. This two-seater vehicle had a 1.2-liter four-cylinder engine, weighing only 365 kilograms, and was capable of reaching a top speed of 80 kilometers per hour. It was an incredible feat that helped to establish Bugatti as one of the best car designers in the country. Bugatti founded his own company in the Alsatian town of Molsheim after quitting his job. He was one of the first people to use racing competitions as a platform to demonstrate the abilities of his cars. 1909 was a significant year in Bugatti's life as he completed the Type 10, founded his company, and welcomed his first son Jean Bugatti into the world. The Type 10 served as the prototype for one of the most popular cars in the automobile industry, the Type 13. Bugatti improved the design of the Type 13 by adding leaf springs to the rear axle and adopting 4 valves per cylinder to create a 16-valve cylinder head design. This meant that the new Type 13 produced an adequate 30 horsepower to power the 300-kilogram chassis. Bugatti continued to work on other models based on his same engine design as the Type 13 all the way to the Type 23. However, the production of his cars stopped when the First World War broke out. After seeing that the war went on for a year and a half, Bugatti had no choice but to move back to Milan and then to Paris, where he worked with the Duesenberg brothers between 1915 and 1916. After the war ended, Bugatti moved back to Molsheim, which by this time had become French territory, and continued to build lightweight sports cars. He shaped the Type 13 with a multi-valve engine, and the result was incredible. His new car gave him victories at the 1920 Le Mans. In 1924, Bugatti presented his most successful racing model, the Type 35, at the Grand Prix in Lyon, which won over 1,000 races during its lifetime. Racing successes continued well into the 1930s for Bugatti, most notably with 2 wins at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in both 1937 and 1939. Bugatti and his first son Jean Bugatti decided to go into the luxury car business and began working on a new vehicle together. By 1926, Bugatti's first luxury car, the Type 41 Bugatti Royale, came into existence. This was the longest and most luxurious car ever made in the world at the time, and Bugatti was highly selective of his clients for the Type 41. Only the most distinguished customers of the era were allowed to buy the car, including kings and aristocratic gentlemen, which is why the Type 41 became known as the Bugatti Royal. While the launch of the Bugatti Royal brought Bugatti to wider prominence, a massive change in the world's economy would soon threaten to bring his company to its knees. Bugatti was a successful car manufacturer who faced financial struggles during the Great Depression. In the mid-1930s, the French government asked him to design and manufacture rail cars to help him overcome bankruptcy. Bugatti agreed and designed 80 successful rail cars. His son Jean took over the Bugatti plant and created new Bugatti models such as the famous Atlantic, Royale, and Type 57, which won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1937 and 1939. However, tragedy struck when Jean died in a car crash and the German army invaded Alsatia, taking over Bugatti's plants. Bugatti refused to cooperate with the Germans and eventually sold his company for less than 50% of its value. After the war, he tried to get his company back but lost and suffered the loss of his wife and his own declining health. Eventually, his company was restored, but he passed away 10 days later, leaving the Bugatti plant abandoned for many years. Bugatti was dormant until the 1980s when Italian entrepreneur Romano Artioli purchased the company in 1987. After 5 years, Bugatti reintroduced itself to the world with the launch of the Bugatti EB 110, a new model capable of achieving top speeds of 213 miles per hour. Despite only 139 units ever being produced, the car quickly became a phenomenon due to its power and extravagant appearance. Unfortunately, Bugatti went bankrupt due to mismanagement in 1995, but was later acquired by Volkswagen in 1998. The new company teased several concept cars at various motor shows in the late 90s, then went quiet for a few years as they developed a new car. In 2005, the Bugatti Veyron was released and broke the world record as the fastest road-going production car ever built, reaching a top speed of 254 miles per hour. The Veyron was replaced by the Bugatti Chiron in 2015, which became another supercar phenomenon. In 2019, the company broke the record again with the Bugatti Chiron reaching an incredible 305 miles per hour. This is the story of Bugatti and the dream of its founder, which continues to live on decades after his tragic death. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and until next time.